Good morning, Mr. Miller. We have one delegation before you, so if I can get you to mute yourself and such until we get to the second delegation, that would be appreciated.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll begin with our land acknowledgement. At the Township of Severn, we recognize the following land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather, in which the Township of Severn operates, is part of the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples have been inhabiting and caring for this land. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Ojibwe or Chippewas peoples. This territory is covered by the Lake Simcoe Treaty 16 and the J. Collins land purchase. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our respect to its first inhabitants. We'll now sing our national anthem, please.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Moment of reflection, please. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Can't see Councillor Jansen. Good morning. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning. We do have two presentations this morning. There are no public meetings. I will remind the presenters that it is it a 10-minute or 15-minute? 10-minute. 10-minute time limit. So first we'll have Miss Susan Wellman, request for exemption to keep animals. You can come right up here. Thank you. And good morning.
The 2323 Burnside line. I was running a couple of markets for the last 3 years to make money for a dog rescue. So I have a neighbor that calls on everybody, but that's besides the point. I had municipal enforcement come, and the first year was fine. The second year, he said everything was okay, and last year, he just got a little angry and said, I thought you weren't having any more, and we aren't having any more. He's 2 days later, I got a letter from the town that says that I didn't go to the fire department, etc. Every year I have phoned to find out if I needed a permit, which I was told no, because I did not have food trucks. And then apparently I got a letter that said I had too many animals on my property, which we never received. Checked with my husband, we didn't receive it. Our property is around the 4-acre mark. We have a small barn with 4 run-ins. And we bought privately from a woman that had passed away. So unfortunately on us, we did not know that it wasn't zoned for what I'm doing. So what I have on my farm is 2 miniature horses. I have 5 alpacas, 1 llama, 5 miniature sheep. And apparently I'm allowed 3 animal units, which are 2 horses, full-grown horses and a colt. All my animals don't weigh anywhere near that. They're all rescues. They all had no homes. So what I do now is they're basically all pets. I take the alpacas actually to seniors' homes throughout Aurelia as therapy for the seniors. I take them outside, they're halter trained. So they stay outside and they bring seniors out to visit with them and touch them, etc. So what I'm asking for is an exemption. I'm not getting any more. I'm getting up there in years too. Our little barn does not have water, so we carry buckets out all winter. They're fed hay all year. I have 3 pastures that I rotate them on. I don't know what else to say. I am a good citizen. I get my fire permit every year. We've registered our dogs. I've never had an issue.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thanks. Thanks for coming. What acreage, what size is your property, just for interest?
I think we're just over 3.
Okay,
Maybe just under 4.
thank you.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
Thank you very much for bringing this forward. We do, I don't know if I know you were nervous. So we either refer this matter, your presentation to the staffer report, or take no action, or the new one is the mayor for consideration during budget. So I would like to say that we would send this to staff for a report and get their opinion on things, and then we can have a discussion. Thank you very much.
Councillor Minnies.
Thank you, through the mayor. Thank you for coming in and speaking to us. It's always good to meet people who are writing in. My question is for the staff. You had mentioned that you had a visit from the bylaw officer in 2 previous years. So 2023, I'm gathering, in 2024. And then when they visited in 2025, it resulted in this letter, this enforcement. Could I know from the staff why the visits in 2023 and 2024 didn't result in the same enforcement action?
Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much. So if council refers this for a report, then that information will come forward in the staff report that will come to closed session.
Thank you very much.
Councillor McIntyre.
Thank you, through the chair. I agree that this needs a report from staff, and if we send it away and inform our friend afterward, we may have her come back, or how all that works. But I agree that a staff report is required here.
Thank you. Any further comments? Thank you. Sure, go ahead.
So most of the animals are getting older now. Like my alpacas, they range from 7 to 15 years. 2 of them aren't healthy. They're just getting skinny because they're getting older, and they weren't well cared for before I received them. The sheep are 8 to 10 years old, so they don't have much, according to the computer, sheep last 10 to 12 years. So mine are 8 and 10 years old. The only ones that have a lifetime are the 2 miniatures. They're 14 and 15 approximately years old.
So just a question, Ms. Wellman, if you had to, how will I put it, kindly, not have your, where would they go? Would you have a? Okay.
They didn't have homes, so that's why I took them.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just one further question through the mayor. So you're saying that if this is the maximum number they would be, and then from here on in, it's going to be reduced? Is that?
Yes, I am not getting any more. It's like I said, I'm 66 years old. I'm
Okay.
finding it a lot more challenging to carry out the water all summer, to lift bales of hay every day. So
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. Thanks.
Councillor Meanings.
Thank you. And through the mayor. So just to confirm, the number of animals that you've written that's in the agenda through your letter and what you spoke about today are the same number of animals you've had for how many years?
5 years.
So there's been no increase in the past 5 years. Thank you very much.
Any further comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, do you have a motion? Thank you for coming.
Thank you. The motion reads that the delegation by Susan Wellman regarding a request for exemption to keep animals be received and referred for a staff report.
Mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor McIntyre, second by Councillor Meanings. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Bruce Miller, Block C Developments, request for extension of draft plan approval for Plan ST-T-0706-2595 Westshore Crescent. Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, everybody. I think we tried to outline everything in our request, but we can expand on that a bit more here. But I think we've made it fairly clear that everything now comes down to funding. Everything else is pretty much done. And we've been working with the purchaser, proposed purchaser, builder. He was going to buy the property and then build the houses that I think everybody knows about. He's still working on his funding. He has partial funding, but he doesn't have enough funding yet to put it all together. And obviously time is running out. And back around early July, it became fairly obvious that we should go to a plan B. So I talked to my partner on July the 4th, which was a Friday, and we just discussed funding the subdivision agreement ourselves, and they decided that we could do it and that we would go ahead. And we indicated that to your planning and development staff on Monday, July the 7th. But the following week, on July the 16th, I was talking to Doug. And at that time, he informed me that over the previous weekend, his health had failed drastically, and it was failing quickly, and he was simply no longer able to be a part of this anymore. Either to be involved in physically doing anything or getting involved in any more funding. But I did talk to him again on the next day, the 17th, and at that time he agreed that he would support a request for an extension to the draft plan approval. And hopefully we get something sorted out with his share of this project. So on my part then, I started to reorganize my own things in order to provide all of the funding that's going to be required, both for to satisfy the subdivision agreement and get it signed, and to do the construction, like the streetlights, the ditching, the installation of hydro, distribution of hydro, etc. But my experts tell me to expect that that'll take us well into the first half of next year. And from past experience, I think we have to allow for some slippage. So I would say it probably gets into the later part of next year. And beyond that, if an estate issue develops with my partner, I don't know how that complicates it, but it could delay things possibly even more. So I'm hoping that explains why we've got here where we are now, and why we're asking for this extension with quite a bit of flexibility so that we can get this back on track and get it finished. And if anybody on your side, staff or whoever, has any other suggestions or ideas that would help it, we'd be glad to talk about it and hear about it.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Members of council, do you have any Councillor Mennings.
Thank you, through the chair. Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Morning.
Could you tell me how long you've owned this block of land?
The ownership, I think goes way back into the 1980s. My partner owned the block of land, and he owned a house across the road. And then sometime in the 1990s, I'm thinking early 1990s is when I got involved with him for 50% share of this particular parcel.
Thank you. So yeah, I was given information. I have some written information I'm sharing with the township here that's dated 1991. So I just wanted to know if you were involved back then. So that's older than the township is. So that's over 30 years. We're going into our fourth decade here with this parcel of land. But so I do have some concerns with these ongoing. I've been in council 2.5 years. This is the third time your company or yourself has come for an extension. And I'm here representing all the other people who live on Westshore Crescent. There's quite a few of them who continue to be disrupted with clear cutting. And then like this morning, it's all grown up, looks like a mini forest, which is great, but there hasn't been any action in over 30 years on this plot of land. So I do have concerns about that. And then my second concern is that the letter that you submitted this morning, your request for extension, the subsequent progress that you've listed, the 8 points in your letter that have been accomplished to date, are the same 8 points that you put in a letter a year and a half ago when you came for your last extension. So I don't see any progress to date. So unless there's something different or this letter, there's something else that should have been in there, it's not a true reflection, because I had to go back to November of 2024 to read the letter you submitted there, and it looks exactly very much the same.
Yeah, can I respond to that?
Oh, yes, please. Thanks.
Yeah, the work that's listed has all been done since the sewer and water services were installed on Westshore Crescent. However many years ago that was started. At that time, someone from council or staff approached us and asked us to put in the laterals, I think they're called, to the property lines, and then start the planning process after that. That they were put in on a speculative basis, and we paid for that. And then over the years, I'm probably going back 3-4 years, Tatum Engineers looked after most of getting the planning done, the engineering, everything done, so that we could get to a subdivision agreement. And we got to that point in November of 2024, I believe, which is, if I have the date right, yeah, that's less than a year ago. And at that point, the plan was for this builder developer we'd been working with and township's been working with. The idea was that he would buy the property and then he could sign the subdivision agreement in his company's name and build 8 houses, which are already designed by an architect that staff knows about and has worked with. So there's been a lot of work done up until the subdivision agreement was ready to sign, and at that point, it basically is turned over to this developer, and his priority was to arrange the funding. His complaint is that a delay took us from a buoyant market where he had funding offers available into November, when the market apparently changed, I'm not in the market, so I don't know that much about it, but he says the market changed and his funding sources all dried up. But they are coming back to life now, is what he tells me. He's got some funding, but he just doesn't have it all. So that's basically how we got from getting the design and planning done to getting to this point where everything now is dependent on his funding. And plan B to get around his problems of funding is for me to arrange the funding so that we can get the subdivision agreement signed. And then I should be in a position to help him with the funding he's going to need for construction.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you. I just have a follow-up, a
Okay.
subsequent question. if I may.
Councilor
Through the-
Mannings, yes.
So the, your letter, again, which is what we have to work with, you say that the additional time is requested to accommodate changes in the market. And now you're talking about funding. So we're only talking about 8 homes that are in this subdivision plan. I really think I'd like to refer this to staff for a full report so that council sees the end-to-end picture of what from our planning team of the entire, like we need more than I think what you, Mr. Miller, have sent us. I think we also need to hear from our staff about this so that we can make a final decision on what you're asking, which is the extension, because frankly, the changes in funding were the same reason that were put forward before COVID and ongoing. And that's I believe, and I'm not a developer, and you just said you aren't either, it's your partners. But to build 8 houses, I am again just thinking that we need to hear from our township staff before we can make a decision.
Thank you. Councilor Brennan, thank you. Sorry, Phil.
Thanks for remembering, Ben. If I may direct a question to Andrea. From where I sit, I mean, from a planning point of view, this file basically started in 23 with the approval. Like, from a process point of view. So the approval was 2023.
Ms.
Right.
Woodrow.
Ms. Woodrow, yes.
Thank you. If I may, through you, Mayor Burkett, to Councillor Brennan. So just to maybe take a step back, the original draft plan approval by the County of Simcoe was actually in 2009.
Okay.
And there's been subsequent extensions since that time. There was quite a bit of traction in 2023. That's when staff brought forward the subdivision agreement with reference to approved plans and, securities, that sort of thing. That was at the end of 2023. And so basically there was some traction and movement at that point in time. And as Mr. Miller had noted, his, potential partner in investment had noted that the market had changed. So right now, I'd just like to remind council, we have approved plans, we have an approved subdivision agreement. Mr. Miller has also obtained minor variances in 2022. And as he's noted, the sewer and water laterals are already in.
Yeah.
And this is a service settlement area.
Yeah, so it's just supplementary. Funding across the board right now it's well known. It's been well reported that for the construction industry right now, things are real. I just talked to a developer yesterday, a local developer who lives in Marchmount, and they're having a tough time right now. And I've also talked to a builder and they're laying off people left, right, and center. These are hard times. And of course, if you heard the data on the Ontario hitting its building goal, it's not even close to warm. And that's after including dorms for universities and colleges. So we're going through some rough times here. We still need homes. And I'm just wondering, if you were to grant an extension, if there are grievances by the local population with regard to the maintenance of the property, can conditions not be applied to ensure that those things are overcome in that period of extension?
If I may,
Yes.
Mayor Burkett, through you to Councillor Brennan, certainly we have our clean and clear bylaw. That can be, a complaint can be lodged through that process. I think Mr. Miller's certainly hearing today some concerns with the property. And perhaps I would leave it to him to comment, but I'm sure he's taking those comments away as well. So.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
So through the chair to Andrea, if we don't grant this extension, I just want everyone to understand, does that mean that he has to reapply for everything again?
Ms. Woodrow.
Thank you. If I may, Mayor Burkett, through you to Deputy Mayor Cox. So right now, what Mr. Miller is looking for is an endorsement from the township, because just a reminder, it's the County of Simcoe who would actually grant the extension request. So in terms of next steps, if the extension is not granted and the subdivision lapses in September, there are a few options. Mr. Miller can file an appeal before the lapsing date for lack of extension. If the extension is within a certain amount of time after lapsing, he can basically approach the County of Simcoe under a new provision of the Planning Act to reinitiate the draft plan approval, subject to conditions. And the third thing would be Mr. Miller could reapply for the exact same development. It is a unique piece of property and is probably going to always be in some type of 8-lot sort of configuration, that sort of thing. I don't think you're going to see any change there. If he were to reapply for the exact same thing for which he already has approved plans, a subdivision agreement and laterals, you're looking at an expense of over $20,000 for essentially the same proposal.
Thank you very much, because that's what I wanted everyone to understand is even if we don't endorse this, he still will have to spend money to try to appeal it and everything you said. So as far as I'm concerned, let's give the extension, because it's just going to cost more money for this man. And even if we don't, it will cost more money. So I think I am in favor of giving the extension. Thank you.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah,
Oh, Madam Clerk, what did?
Thank you. So just a reminder for council that council cannot make a decision on this matter today. So it does need to be referred for report or receive for information, which would be taking no action. So if council would like a report, then that'll come back as soon as the director can pull it together.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through the mayor to Andrea, if we ask for a staff report, would it be done in time before the agreement lapses?
If I may, Mayor Burkett, through you to Councillor Taylor. Yes, it can be done if it comes back to the next available meeting, which is August Corporate Services Committee. And that can be done. The county has been given a heads up because Mr. Miller has also applied concurrently to the county. They are aware of, today's meeting and the looming deadline. So it can be coordinated, yes.
And just in summary, then, if that's a corporate meeting, then that doesn't really become official until the council meeting in September. Is that correct?
If I may, Mayor Burkett, that is correct, yes, but council could direct that staff proceed prior to ratification, subject to your thoughts.
And just in summary, I would support that.
Councillor Brennan.
Yeah, just if I may, thank you through the mayor, to Andrea. The extensions like this, I'm just generally speaking, large companies, small companies, whatever. How would this, if an extension were to be recommended in your report, is this a precedent, or is this like, for instance, if a large company have made similar type of requests for these types of things under similar timeline things? What's the precedence here?
Ms. Woodrow.
If I may, Mayor Burkett, I think in response to Councillor Brennan, each situation, each application has to be looked at on its own merits and unique circumstances. So I don't think there's a precedent. I think that you would have to look at each situation.
So it's not an unusual request that you're getting, basically.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Madam CEO.
Thank you. If I could follow it up, in my experience, it's pretty rare to say no to expense, big, small, or otherwise.
Councillor McIntyre.
Thank you through the mayor. I agree with just about everybody here. I think an extension is should be granted, although through what Andrea said, if she could get it all ready for the corporate services, and then we could really take a swing at it in September. I think much like Councillor Taylor said, after the staff report would have a more clear view of it. I understand Mr. Miller's disdain with the fact that the market has changed dramatically. And, he's not in this all this long time to just say thanks very much and get the houses built. He's probably an entrepreneur trying to make a few dollars, so it's not the good time. As the CAO said, extensions are commonplace, and after the staff report, I think we'll have a more clear view of it.
Thank you. Councillor Jansen, are you okay? Thank you. So this isn't, as the CAO has stated, isn't unusual. We've got one out front here that's been on the book since 1990. It's gone nowhere. You've got one in your ward off of Riverdale that's been on the books for, I want to guess, 20 years. And we've always granted extension in hopes that, and this is in a settlement area. Someone's going to buy it. Someone's going to develop it. And I hope I'm in favor of the extension, but we'll wait for the staff report so that Mr. Miller can get his ducks in a row and hopefully build the houses in the next 3 years. Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
Thank you. The motion reads that the delegation by Bruce Miller of Block C Developments regarding a request for extension of draft plan approval for Plan STT 0706 2595 Westshore Crescent be received and referred for a staff report.
Mover and seconder, moved by Deputy Mayor Cox, second by Councillor Minnings. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Does any member of council want to pull anything? Deputy Mayor Cox.
Yes, I'd like to pull H 2.2, please. The Coldwater District Agricultural Society request for RV parking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Nothing. Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
Thank you. Motion reads that the agenda be adopted, including consent items with the exception of item H 2.2.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Taylor, second by Deputy Mayor Cox. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to reports from officials for direction, planning and development. J1.1 planning report number P25-031, part of lot control exemption bylaw, Turnbull subdivision, block 74, plan 51M-1251, 3020 Sandy Acres Avenue, 3012 Sandy Acres Avenue. And who would like to speak to this? Emily, please. Thank you.
Good morning and thank you, Mayor Burkett. So this block is block 74 in the Turnbull subdivision. The developer is now at a point where these specific townhome units are approaching the end of their construction and the foundations have now been surveyed. To facilitate the transfer of these individual units to the prospective purchasers, the part lot control exemption bylaw is before you this morning. Planning staff have reviewed the proposed lot fabric to confirm that it complies with the township zoning bylaw and subdivision agreement. So the consideration of the bylaw today would just seek to facilitate the transfer of those lands. This is very similar to the other part lot control applications that we've seen before council, both in this subdivision and Greenwood Landings over the past year or so. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Councillor Jansen, are you okay?
I'm sorry, I missed that. I'm not too sure what's going on with my my tablet. Fortunately, it kicked me off of Zoom.
Would you like Emily to repeat it? Councillor Jansen?
Yes, please. What item are we on now?
We're on item J 1.1.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Sorry, Emily, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you through the mayor to Member Jansen. Essentially, just to summarize, this part lot control exemption bylaw before council this morning contemplates block 74 in the Turnbull subdivision. The townhomes are now at a point in construction where they're approaching the end of their construction and are ready to be conveyed to the individual purchasers. So the passing of the bylaw today would facilitate that process. Planning staff have reviewed the survey plan prior to its registration to confirm that it complies with both the township zoning bylaw and the subdivision agreement. So the bylaw today is more so just to facilitate that final transfer of the lands. Thank you.
Thank you. Council having. Thank you, Emily. Any questions? Okay, Madam Clerk, do you have a motion, please?
Thank you. The motion reads that planning report P25-031 dated August 13th, 2025 with respect to a part lot control bylaw application for the lands described as block 74 plan 51M-1251 be received and that the draft part lot control exemption bylaw included as attachment 4 to planning report P25-031 be brought forward immediately.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Taylor, second by Deputy Mayor Cox. All in favor? That's carried. Moving on to J 1.2, planning report number P25-030, request for extension draft plan of subdivision approval, Live Hawkridge GP Incorporated, Area 3 draft plan of subdivision, 4398 and 4470 Burnside Line -43T 99006. Who would like to speak to this? Well, Mr. Robinson, good morning. Thank you.
Morning, Your Worship, members of council. So this is a draft approval extension request that has been made for Area 3. When I look at draft approval extension requests, there's really two key considerations from where I sit. The first is the property zoned for that proposed use already? And in this case, it is zoned to reflect the lot characteristics and configuration of the draft plan. And then the second one is, has there been substantial efforts made to satisfy the conditions of draft plan approval? The primary consideration there relates to engineering. How much work have they done from an engineering perspective to advance the draft plan of subdivision? Because that's really the most costly component. And in this case, this subdivision is firstly, it's zoned for this specific use, these specific lots that are outlined in the draft plan. And secondly, there's been a substantial amount of engineering work completed to advance the design. They're just in the process of receiving comments on their fourth engineering submission. So they're very close to completing the draft approval conditions. And out of an abundance of caution, they've requested a 3-year extension. We're expecting it can be completed quicker than that, but I don't think there's a whole lot more I need to say, but those are the reasons that they basically met the threshold test to receive an extension for a draft approval.
Thank you. Any members of council have questions? None? Madam Clerk, do you have a motion, please? Thank you, Jamie.
Motion reads that planning report P25-030 dated August 13th, 2025 with respect to the draft plan of subdivision for 4398 and 4470 Burnside Line Area 3, file number 43T 99006 be received, and that the Township of Severn endorse a 3-year extension of the draft plan of subdivision approval for file number 43T 99006, which is scheduled to lapse on September 22nd, 2025. And further, that the County of Simcoe and the OLT be advised of the township's position in writing.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor McIntyre. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to J 2.1, administration report number A25-025, automated speed control ASE policies. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. So these are policies that are required under legislation in order to bring forward ASC. They've been drafted in concurrence with our Joint Processing Center so that they are consistent across the municipalities that the Joint Processing Center administers. So there are 3. One's financial hardship, one is conflict of interest, and one is political interference policy. So financial hardship is, I'm going to say, fairly straightforward. Gives the opportunity for someone to ask for more time or that their fee be reduced on a one-time basis. If that person has repeat offenses, then at a certain point, they would be paying the full fine. However, if someone's going to apply for extension or financial hardship, there's a requirement of documentation to prove that they actually are suffering from financial hardship, because many will claim financial hardship and actually not be in that situation by typical standards. So the policy sets out what documentation would have to be submitted to the screening officer for that to be done, and then it would be reviewed and adjustments made accordingly. Adjustments could be reduction. They could also be an extension of time depending on what the individual is requesting. With respect to conflict of interest, that has more to do with, so say if a screening or hearing officer knew the person that was applying, then they would refer it on to someone else in the reporting structure that would go forward from there, and they would recuse themselves from dealing with that one file. Political interference, I think, is fairly straightforward. It means that political bodies have no input or say on and no ability to contact the screening or hearing officers with respect to reviewing individual files. Given that the Joint Processing Center is not operated by us, it is done by a third-party provider. There is that distance to start with. So these are required under legislation in order to bring this system forward. So with that.
Thank you. Any questions, Council? Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, we're reading more about this with our neighbors next door. And is there any way, if once you've triggered you've exceeded the bylaw or the speed zone, you don't know till it comes in the mail? And I'm just reading there, a lady there has had about 3 or 4 before she got the first notice. Is there any way that we could notify the guilty person before they've seen what's happened? That's number one. And then I think I did ask that it's a mystery on what the fines are. Is it 10 over? Is it 3 over? But can you? There's 2 questions. There's can the first infraction be someone be notified quickly somehow? And what are the limits for penalties?
Madam CEO.
So to start, this report is solely about policies. Council has made their decisions on the process, so you can't go back, and we've signed agreements with Global and we're moving forward. So this report really should only be discussing these policies, not anything else. Is there a way to notify people in advance? No, there's been signs out for 90 days that says speed enforcement coming soon. And then the cameras will be then out. So it's a very prescribed process, and we have followed all of the prescriptions. As to the speed limits, our agreements say they're confidential, because if they're not, that then becomes the de facto speed limit. I can tell you from personal experience, I've had 1 or 2 in Barrie and I did not get a ticket for 1 over. I got a ticket for a reasonable amount. Even I was reading, there's a petition in Aurelia right now, and the lady's all upset she had 14 tickets. However, the first ticket in her picture showed her going 55 and a 40. So she wasn't going 1 over. The article was talking about going 1 over, but she wasn't going 1 over. She was going 15 over. So anyways, the answers to your questions are unfortunately are both no. And you can't have a big discussion about that today, because you have solidified the process. We've signed agreements, and there's an agreement to review it in a year. You're going to get some hassles for the first month. We told you that when you started down this path, but we asked you all along where you wanted to go, and you wanted to go down this path. So buckle up for the first month. It'll be rough, and then in Barrie, it was rough for the first month, and then it all settled out. People get used to slowing down where they're supposed to slow down. And I haven't seen anything in Barrie for months about people complaining about it.
Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, just to follow up, the reason why I think I could justify the discussion is that we are mentioning financial hardship. So that's all I'm saying. If there's any way of warning them that we've already triggered it once, but you're saying no, but I guess I'll keep our phone lines open. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
If I can just, for council's benefit, the penalties and the amounts are set out by provincial regulation. So they're in an OREG. I believe I can circulate that to council if they should like to see it. But it's basically within brackets, the fixed rate is this, and they apply consistently across the entire province of Ontario. So if there is to be a change on those rates, it's going to come from the province and not us.
And just in summary then, so this, we can review this in September 2026 and say a yay or nay, and we can decide at a time. And I'll let the CEO speak.
I was just going to share my personal experience, and actually it was my husband. Just to be fair, I have not gotten a speaking ticket, but my husband got one. I think he was doing 12 over and a 40, and the ticket was $75. So I'm also seeing in the newspaper they're $300 or they're $400. Well, then I'm not sure how fast you would have to be going to get a ticket like that. The narrative is I got a $400 ticket and I was going 1 over. Well, those things don't match. So, people aren't telling you. I can tell you 12 over, my husband got a $75 ticket, which is not unreasonable. And it wasn't even 70. Like, I think it started at 50, but then there was a processing fee and some different things, but it was at a reasonable speed and it was a reasonable ticket. So if you're getting a $300 ticket, you probably deserve a $300 ticket. I'm sorry.
So just a question, Madam Clerk, on Councillor Taylor's comment. 1 year, next year is an election year. We have no authority. So are we going to have it before that? Or can we change it so that we can make that decision? Or are we going to leave it when we can't make a decision into September come next year?
There are only certain things under the lame duck provisions that are restricted, and this would not be one of them.
Councillor Jansen.
Thank you. I think I've expressed enough times that I'm not in favor of this program or the way that it's been applied. I am glad that we will be able to review it in a year to find out or to be able to decide whether we're going to continue with it. I am concerned that in a year's time we will not be provided with the data to make an informed decision, seeing as we haven't been able to put input into the speed limit triggers or anything at this time that I believe we as council should be able to put input into. I will share that a friend of mine over the weekend showed me a ticket he received in Barrie for 51 kilometers in a 40 at 6:30 p.m. on a summer day. I don't believe those speed limits make sense. I really feel sorry for our residents and visitors to our township that will receive these tickets for rates like that. Even if $75 is not a lot of money to somebody, it's a lot of money to a senior on a fixed income or somebody that's trying to make their budget stretch. I'll leave my comments at that. I can't support anything to do with this program.
Thank you. Councillor Minnings.
Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that this council will be able to get the 1-year report in a year. I also know that we hosted 2 OPP community sessions, one in Washego, one in Coldwater, both of which I attended. Speed limits were a discussion that were brought up by residents' concerns about them. And the response from the OPP at that time was posted limits, regardless of the street, are not a recommendation. They're the posted number. And I don't care how old a person is, that I've driven through some of these too, and certainly the one up here on Burnside, which the signs are, and it does seem very slow. So I don't know what I used to drive going up there, but it's a driver behavior, just like parking. You park in one place, you can't park in another. But I am very, very conscious about our school zones, and I'm very happy to see this, and all through Facebook, which I know not everyone's on, they do post the O regulations. So there's lots of public information. We are not the first ones out the gate of this, but I think it's a responsible way to relieve pressure that I always feel like I'm putting on our OPP and our bylaw officers every September at Severn Shores Public School to monitor and to enforce driver behavior. So this is a tool that we had, and I was really proud of our decision to go forward with it.
Thank you. Councillor Brennan.
Just as a point of information, although it may be well known, in the last 2 weeks, the CAA has published a report on the efficacy of this program, and so has Sick Children's Hospital. I would recommend anyone who's interested in this to read the reports.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
Thank you. Motion reads that the administration report number 825-025 dated August 13th, 2025 regarding automated speed enforcement ASC policies be received. The council approves the following policies: automated speed enforcement administrative penalties program financial hardship policy, automated speed enforcement administrative penalties program conflict of interest policy, automated speed enforcement administrative penalties program political interference policy.
Mover and a seconder, moved by Councillor Minning, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on to new business, K1, Chelsea Kincaid, Coldwater BIA Board resignation. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
I do. And I should note that Councillor Jansen and I are working with the chair of the BIA as well as our economic development officer to review the BIA and help them get a path forward. We've noticed that there are a substantial number of turnovers this term, which is a little unusual for the BIA, to try and see if there's a path forward that's a bit more sustainable and functional for the BIA. So hopefully this is the last one we'll see for a bit. I know Councillor Jansen's hopeful too. And we'll be bringing those options forward to the BIA at their AGM this fall when they consider their budget. So But otherwise, the motion reads that the resignation of Chelsea Kincaid from the Coldwater BAA Board be accepted and that council extends their thanks for her work with the board.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
I was just going to mention this. I think one way to look at this from all my years of being on the BIA is to increase your numbers because the fact that for 5 people to try to do all that has to be done is very hard. And in this day and age, getting volunteers is very, very difficult. And it would ease the load on the store owners and the business owners who are volunteering their time. And it's just from a background of watching it evolve and it just is a lot of work for a few people. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cox, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Any announcements?
I believe you have one item that was pulled from consent, which is.
Oh, sorry, there is. Thank you.
The Water and District Agricultural Society request for RV parking Fall Fair 2025.
Correct. Deputy Mayor Cox.
I would recommend that we give them the permission to allow the vehicles to park throughout the fair weekend. And the main reason is that's where all the people who actually do all the rides have to live in their trailers. And I know we do have one, but even when we did the bylaw that said no RVs, I knew that this would be one that would be needed for the fair and for the people of the area and the agricultural society. So I would say that we give them the request for permission to allow those vehicles to park throughout the fair weekend. Thank you.
Councillor Minnings.
Thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, I remember this came up, I believe, earlier this year during a related sort of parking lot discussion. And it was stated there that we do allow RVs, and that's great that support the fair. And although I didn't review the video for that meeting, I meant to. Do all of the RVs, these 35, fit behind the curling club, I believe? And I'm just going by memory here. So there was a discussion that RVs do park there. They need to park there, but they're kind of sequestered to one area that's away from the regular parking and the regular, I guess, pedestrian traffic. So that's my only question.
Deputy Mayor Cox.
That was for the curling club. What do you call it? Bonspiel? Not a bonspiel. It was their, thank you, shuffleboard. That's what it was at the curling club. This is for the fair. And what happens is the rides are here and right along the river or the municipal drain. That's usually where all the trailers go, and they do tuck in at the back, and a couple of the vendors have a trailer. So this is different from that one. That was a shuffleboard, I don't know what you call it, competition, I guess it was called. But this is because the people who work and run all the rides and run the things, they need to have a place to live for the 4 or 5 days they're there. Thank you.
Councillor McIntyre.
Thank you, through the mayor. Are we paying for hydro or any kind of a sewage disposal or any of that nature while these 35 units are being parked there?
Okay, Deputy Mayor Cox.
I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but I'm sure Mr. Belfry can check it out, is that the fair board pays for hydro during the fair weekend. I know that for some of them, they may do that. So I think that's something you can check out. And as far as the sewage goes, they all have holding tanks. We've never had an issue in the past. It's been going on for 160 years, 125, that's it.
Any further comments? Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
Thank you. Motion reads that the correspondence from Coldwater and District Agricultural Society regarding the request for RV parking Fall Fair 2025 be received, and that the request be approved, and that the Coldwater and District Agricultural Society work with Director of Recreation Parks and Facilities with respect to the location of the RV parking.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cox, second by Councillor Taylor. All in favor? That's carried. Now, before we go into close, should we take a washroom break?
I have one announcement.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just one announcement. This Friday, in Penetang Curling Club, SSCA is having its open house, and it's from 2 to 7. Drop in and see what this amazing group is doing, and it's well worth it. So 2 to 7 this Friday in Penetang. Thank you. I'm going at 2 o'clock.
Any further announcements? Councillor Jansen.
Thank you. This weekend, we've got a fairy-themed event happening on Friday night in the village of Coldwater and the magical world of witchcraft and wizardry happening all day, 9 to 4 on Saturday. It'll be a busy weekend downtown Coldwater, and we invite all of council and members of our community to attend. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Okay, Madam Clerk, do you have a motion?
Thank you. Motion reads that council resolve in a closed session that this meeting is hereby now closed to the public pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001, Chapter 25, Section 2392, for the purpose of considering personnel matters about unidentifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees. Advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, and a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by on behalf of the municipality or local board.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Taylor, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? That's carried. Take it 2 minutes.
We sure have.
Okay, we are back. The motion reads that the motion reads that closed session adjourn at 11:03 a.m. and that the meeting is hereby now open to the public.
Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Taylor, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
One moment.
General bylaw.
Nope.
Oh.
Next motion is that I have a few motions to pass here. So is that administration report 825-024 dated August 13th, 2025 regarding Severn Public Library Board appointment be received and that Melissa Trala be appointed to the Severn Public Library Board and that the required bylaw be brought forward.
Seconder, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cox, second by Councillor McIntyre. All in favor? That's carried.
Okay, next motion is that the confidential direction to staff on recreation report R25-010 be confirmed and voted on in accordance with section 2396B of the Municipal Act.
Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Taylor. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
And last one is that the confidential direction to staff on CAO report CAO 2025-04 be confirmed and voted on in accordance with section 2396B of the Municipal Act.
Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, second by Deputy Mayor Cox. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
Now bylaws.
Now bylaws. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. The motion reads that bylaws number 2025-49 and 2025-50 are hereby passed.
Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Mennings. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Confirmation bylaw.
Thank you. Motion reads that bylaw number 2025-51 is hereby passed.
Mover and a seconder. Moved by Deputy Mayor Cox, second by Councillor Mennings. All in favor? That's carried. And adjournment. Thank you very much, everyone. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, second by Councillor Taylor. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day, Dan.
See you all in well.
Have a nice day, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Oh.